So, welcome today to everyone on this episode of Fabulous After 50, and indeed a most fabulous woman with us here today. Carolina Levie, a wonderful nutrition and wellness coach who actually guided me wonderfully through a colon detox a few years ago, which had an incredible impact on my body, and now also an author. And I will talk in a minute about my link to this amazing project that she's been on. So today we're going to be talking about dreams, about putting all of who we are and what we stand for together, about creating gifts for the present and legacies for the future. But first, Carolina, if we could just start with you in your own words, explaining a little bit about who you are and what brought you to be doing what you are doing right now.
Well, thank you, Julie. I'm so excited to be part of, again, this beautiful podcast that you have been doing for some years and which I have participated at the beginning.
Right, you were episode 2 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel really very grateful to be part again. And yeah, definitely Fabulous After 50 has so many nice features and so many opportunities for many of us women. So yes, as you said, I am a nutrition and wellness coach. And actually, that started already, I think, from youth, becomes a part of your life when you are guided by your parents to really eat healthy and to enjoy the beautiful fruits and vegetables that we are provided. So it all started back then, but actually, when I moved back after so many years of traveling around the world, I moved back to Holland or to the Netherlands. And I was introduced to a company that has nutritional supplements, which I thought was very interesting due to the circumstances that we live today, as well with all the pollution and all
Yeah.
electromagnetic and all the different issues that we are facing in food, in soil, and all the packaged food. So
Right.
I thought it was interesting to have some supplementation. So I joined this company, but then I thought there was something more I needed, and I really deep into education.
Yeah, you did so many courses and accreditations and stuff,
Yeah,
didn't you?
so I
Yeah.
started in the Institute of Integrated Nutrition, a course about health and lifestyle, and that really gave me a boost to really deeper. And then did another course in gut health and hormonal health. That all guided me to think, okay, I can help.
You can. You certainly helped me. And I
Yeah,
wouldn't have been able to do it without you. I love that because you started with something that you'd basically inherited, which was part of your cultural upbringing, your mother's love of food and of healthy food and fresh food, and added with it that idea of actually spending time, as in it's not just gobbling it down, standing up, but that it's really an honoring of our bodies and all of that. You do a lot because you do recipes. I remember because I've edited for Carolina, oh, so many years now. So I see the different things that she's doing. And you've
yeah.
basically put it all together in a wonderful way. All your experience abroad, Carolina's from Colombia, but you've moved, I don't know, loads of
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, and so that's why I thought I could really support and inspire others
Yes.
to live a healthy lifestyle. And it's not just about dieting, but it's really
No.
a mindset and a
Right.
consciousness of deciding, yes, I want to live the best I can with what we have and what Mother Nature offers. So that was really very nice. I did it for a couple of years. However, along this came as well something that I'm very passionate with, which is the art of setting the tables. And of course, that doesn't come without food.
Yes. Yes.
And many inspire me to do a book about tables. I thought, okay, well, maybe that could be something interesting, but it has to be more solid in just tables that don't mean anything. But for me,
Right.
it became more why I do these tables. I am very fortunate to have had a lot of traditions in my family that I carried along for many years because of I was living abroad. So
Right.
that helped me to feel who I am and to identify, yeah, who I am. So that's when I decided to write a book. I'm so glad that I have met you, Julie, so that you could help me to edit all my thoughts,
It's
my
been a
emotions.
pleasure and a privilege. And that's what we're talking about here today. We're talking about a dream when we put everything that we are together, but also how sometimes just responding to what other people say. Because if I remember well, this all started with members of your family, sort of saying, wow, Carolina, you put so much thought and attention, not just into the food and the nutritional value, but also the presentation of the food, but
Correct.
also about these incredible, and you will see, because we will be talking about the book, these incredible table settings that Carolina does, really setting the stage for meaningful connections with people. So,
Yes.
I mean, you have managed to put together three very important pillars for you: the food, the art, and it's what started out as a hobby, but which is now a full-blown profession of how to set a table with whatever means you have, right? Because it's not just silver candelabras, etc. It's really giving thought to who are you receiving around this table, and then all these traditions that you wanted to give on to your
Yeah.
four children as you were moving around the world. And you also took on new ones from all these various countries in your own way. But so, okay, a book. This is what we're talking about today. It's been a labor of love. And I don't know, how many years have we worked on it? 3 years?
3 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So
definitely.
it's just out.
And
I've
every time
seen
I
the
saw and I heard someone publishing a book or working in a book, I thought, oh my God, that's so brave and that is so interesting. But how did you do that?
right. So to
And
inspire others, maybe we start with that. Why, apart from the fact that a few people around you have been saying you should share it with other people, why did you say, okay, you know what? I'm going to at first try and write a book?
well, because I was always so praised by my mother-in-law and by everyone who really came home and appreciated how I set up the table and the food that I prepared and the thought that I put into it. So it was
Mm-hmm.
not just the regular food. No, I thought, okay, who is coming? What do they like? Where are they coming from? What is the event for? So all this takes like an important factor in the decision as to how you're going to set up this table and what kind of menu are you going to have. And the whole
Right,
process of arranging the menu and gathering all your ingredients and preparing the menu, for me, is just there's no completion if you don't have a beautiful table. It would
right.
be like you dress up in this beautiful gown and your hair looks really not good.
Right, that's a good comparison. Maybe we should also talk about the philosophical almost concept of the table. Why is the table so important for you?
Well, I think the table for me, and I think for everyone, because when you go back even just to the time of Christ, he already had a table around with 12 disciples. So the table has been and it is the center of a home, whether you
Right.
use it for eating or for after the pandemic, COVID-19, everybody really utilized the table as a center
It
and
was
an
the center of the
important
house.
piece of your home for
Yeah.
work, for making puzzles, for eating, for seeing your children, for everything, for even just also sharing difficult times as well.
Yes.
You
And
know,
it's sharing, right? It's this connection. And that's what I love as a leitmotif throughout your book. It's this idea of connection, of making time to literally
right.
sit and listen.
Listen.
Whether it's fun, whether it's sad, whether it's just ideas, it's that, especially in today's manic world where we talk fast, we do fast, we eat fast, we cook fast, the importance of keeping that connection and having a place where people can really connect.
Yeah, connect and also for your own health as well, because just
Right,
sitting at the table and enjoying your meal, it's not only physically, but it's also an emotional process and it's a process that we need and our
right.
body needs in order to have a proper digestion.
Yes, I think we
Feel
forget
good.
about a lot, right? How many problems are there, digestive problems just by basically not even sitting down and not chewing and
Yeah.
yeah,
So the table, in a way, it is a centerpiece for every home, and it has had an evolution from times because before it was a table used just to put beautiful pieces of art, to gather pieces of art. But now, through the evolution, the table became accessible for everyone. It's not
yes,
just
that's right.
something that it was one size, but it was made of different materials, different shapes, different width.
Materials as well, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I think the table has had like an evolution for everyone today to access it.
And I mean, that's what's so fascinating about your book, because, okay, so there's a section on food with some amazing recipes. There's the section about the table setting, what to think of, and things like that. There's a section on traditions, because they're very, very important to you. But it's
Right.
all this idea of putting it all together. And there's also history. So the history of the table, where does that come from? You know, what does it mean? How can it play an important role in today's society? Because it's not just about reminiscing about the past when we did sit down and honor traditions. It's very much, isn't it, about bringing it into, well, the present, as in adapting it now in our own homes, but
Right.
also a legacy for future generations who might not even have been brought up with this concept of
Yes.
taking time.
Taking time and connecting and sharing and listening, because
Right.
that is very important.
Well, so this started off as a project, right? And then it grew and grew. I know there are two components, right? Or there are more than two components, but let's say from a census point of view, there's the words and there's the pictures. Because tell us a bit about the pictures, Carolina.
Well, the pictures are very important part of the book because they are complementing my story. I use a lot of objects and beautiful pieces that I have collected through years because for me, I don't know, since a very young age, I just like to collect
Mhm.
objects. I have just collections of spoons, of eggs, of different materials from alabaster to marble to wood, different colors. I love to collecting tableware and silverware and candle holders. And it doesn't matter what it is, all these objects have a meaningful meaning to,
Yes.
and therefore there is a story behind. It's not just an object because
Yeah,
an
you haven't just thrown them on the table because they're the right color, right? There's a lot of thought behind it.
it's a lot of thought and there is a memory behind and also of who has given it to me because not everything I have gotten myself. I also
Yes,
have appreciated a lot of gifts that have been given to me and therefore I am very glad and very fortunate that I can really utilize it when I build up these tables because it's never the same.
right.
That's you are always with different people, different time of the year,
Exactly.
different menus, different environments. So it's always different.
But these objects have been captured absolutely amazingly because this is a bit of a joint venture, right?
Right. So Michelle, she's an amazing photographer, and also for her, she wanted to photograph objects. And
Mm.
so interesting that this was a project that she also
Yeah,
enjoyed so much because that was what she wanted to photograph objects. And so she complemented so well because between the objects, between the table settings, between all the different styling we did, utilizing fruits and vegetables, flowers, objects, table settings, and the times of the year, then
right.
really made it possible to create a story based on the 4 seasons of the year. And that was
Indeed.
so
And I will add, it's also an amazing connection because Michelle is a professional photographer and happens to be Carolina's. They also went through this journey together. And Carolina's book is also very much an homage to the past, to her family, to her upbringing, to everything that she was taught regarding traditions and food, etc. And then she brings it into the present, internationalizes it through all these places she's also lived around the world. And she takes all of that together to make something. It's a beautiful, beautiful coffee book that we can all be inspired from, whether it's the recipes, the table setting, whether it's the history, whether it's Carolina's story, which is also in itself a real pleasure to read, and which is where I had the privilege to help her with the editing. Carolina, we haven't even talked about the name of the book. How have you named your book?
well. My book was named long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first thought I gave to this book, so I gave it the name of Compliments. And I
Right.
thought of this name in the summer of, I think it was 2020, and I had this name for a long time. And I really visualize even if I didn't know what was going to go in there, I visualized compliments being a coffee table book. And thereafter, it all started. And actually, you gave me a advice of a little book, how to write your book.
Right.
To start, or I
Yeah.
don't remember exactly the title. And I read the first thing, and it said, you need to have your title.
Right.
That's your first
Step. Yeah.
step. And
And
that,
we are talking, just in case people, since we're not all native English speakers, we're talking about compliment with an E, as in complementation, not a compliment as in bravo. It's complement, how things add on to each other. So
exactly.
why this name for you?
Okay, what complements each other for me are the traditions, the food, and the table setting, the art
Right.
table setting. Because for me, the tradition of Christmas or Halloween or Thanksgiving is it is nothing if you don't complement it with what it belongs to the
Right.
tradition itself.
Yes. It's a very deep book. I mean, the photos in itself are just mind-blowing. They are just so, so
Oh,
beautiful.
thank
But
you,
it's a
Julie.
very deep book. So yes,
Yes.
okay. So it's called Compliments. And I mean, I do want to tap into some of the tips, but before we go further, I mean, this book grew and grew and grew. You realize how much you really, with passion, wanted to have in there. You wanted to feel as an artist or as a creator. It's always hard to have something finished. And we know that we could probably continue for another 20 years adding to it. But
Right.
it was important for you that there were each time parts either of the history or the family or places or traditions or whatsoever which were missing. So how did you cope with that, with how it grew?
Well, I think I had times that I will be so overwhelmed
Yeah.
that I thought I was not going to be able to finish it because it came something else and something else.
Yes.
And then when it was in the process of being designed, which I designed it in Medellin, Colombia, I wanted this book to be international itself. So
Right.
the book, it's registered in Colombia in the Public National Library of Bogota, of Colombia. And so that was very important for me.
Yes.
And then it is published and printed in Madrid, Spain.
Yes. Yes.
So all these are part of my roots as well. And when it started to grow and the designer group said, okay, so how many pages you want? And I said 264.
That was very specific.
I don't know why I say this number, but that was it. But when I started putting all these beautiful pictures, Michelle, my daughter, she took about, I think we counted between 12 and 14,000 pictures, which she selected, I selected, and then she did the final curation of the photographs because she has an eye for detail and she's an incredible photographer. So at one point I was like, I cannot let go this one, I cannot let go
Yeah.
this. So, okay, it has to grow. So the
Yeah.
book grew to 332 pages. And then I
Yeah.
said, okay,
Yeah, that's how it is, right? You weren't Cinderella. You didn't want to compromise, right? You had this vision and you weren't prepared to compromise.
right.
So, I mean, it's out, right? The book launch is coming up soon. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. It feels very emotional. I
Mm,
feel like I have been granted way too much. I
mm,
have been able to do this dream and this vision together with my daughter and with all the team I had together between you, the design team, the printing, my husband, my children, and all of those that really helped me around it. It's just, I feel overwhelmed of joy.
wow. Wow. And I mean, for us, I mean, okay, I can only speak for myself, but the story in itself is so beautiful. And this whole idea, so not even just your story, which in itself, is a book. It's a beautiful, beautiful story of love, of connection, of past, present, and future with your four beautiful children. It's a story of internationalism, how we stay ourselves as we move around and take on from other cultures as well. You really needed to have this all together. And
Yeah.
if we're talking about, apart from the fact of, get this book, it's a gorgeous book to have on your coffee table. It's a gorgeous book to gift to other people. It's inspiring, it's deep, it's beautiful, it's full of knowledge as well. But it's also this idea of you took something that you felt inside of you, and even though you didn't feel you were, a writer or anything like that, you let it happen, you let it come. And when you had an obstacle, you found, yeah, sure enough, it's a bumpy journey. I mean, anybody who's ever written a book knows what a bumpy journey it is. And there are 8 million reasons to give up. But still, this was really your life legacy. This was your first, maybe, this might be the first of many. This was really something that you wanted to give, because you say you're overwhelmed with gratitude. I think all of us who contributed to it, we're also overwhelmed with gratitude that you opened our eyes. I know I feel and think differently about the table than I did before meeting you. To come back to our session, we're talking about making a dream come true. So here, taking all that you've been all these years and creating something out of it that you can gift others, to inspire, to please. What tips would you have to the listeners?
Well, I think my best tip is also a quote that I often share with the children, but it is actually for everyone. It's from Eleanor Roosevelt, and she says, "The future belongs to those that believe in the beauty of their dreams."
Oh,
And I think that's what we all have to have, a dream.
right.
It doesn't matter how big, how small, how difficult, it doesn't matter, but that makes you feel like you have a purpose, a passion,
Right.
and that you are someone that is unique here to do
Yes.
something for someone, because no matter what, we all help and we all give and we all touch hearts.
It's a contribution, right? And that fits in so beautifully with, the fabulous after 50 is that we have, for all of us, anybody listening, we all have a story. We have all learned something on
Yes.
our path. And we have been given certain ideas. Like you say, this was your dream. It sort of started small and it grew and it grew and it grew. And
Yeah.
now it's a book of 330, was it, pages? It's we all have that. So I guess so what you're saying is think of, what is that dream maybe that you keep small
Yeah.
by saying, I can't, or I don't have time, I don't have money, who wants to listen to me, blah, blah, blah. Put all of that aside and think, okay, what is it you feel compelled to do? So,
Yeah.
okay, so your dream,
So that's the first part. And then once you have this dream, you really have to think about it and put it in action and start.
right, right.
And don't be afraid, because yeah, every step can be difficult, but it
Yes.
doesn't matter. You have already a dream, and that's the biggest gift that you can.
Right. And I think we hold on to the why, right? The why. Why
Yeah.
is this important? I think that's what kept you going as well. Why is this important to you? And,
Yes.
and that then gives us the courage when we are having bumpy moments and when we have loads of doubts and obstacles, because I always feel that it's exactly the right, decisions that we make, which come with obstacles. I'm a Buddhist, and we actually say that the obstacles which come on our path come on purpose to test
Right.
us, to
Yeah.
test how serious we are about our why.
Yes. Exactly. And I think for me, it didn't matter. I didn't know it was going to take 3 years, because maybe
Yeah,
probably you get so scared that you go like, for 3 years, what am I going
yeah,
to do?
yeah, yeah,
But my third tip is that then you have to trust, and you
yes,
have to trust the process, and
right,
you cannot rush it. I always compare it with like a marathon. You
okay,
have to train, and during the training, you are going to be hurting, or you fall, or you say you can make it, but eventually you're ready. And then once you're running this race, a lot of things can happen, but you
yes,
have your goal, and that's to cross
yes,
the finish line.
yes,
And it doesn't matter if you do it at your time, or if maybe you got injured but you finished it, whatever
yeah.
happened in between. But I think to trust your journey and believe that you can accomplish that dream or goal, then
Yeah,
that's what keeps you like really in this positive.
exactly. And then we've been given it for a reason, right? it is our little contribution, or little or big, or whatever. It is our contribution, because I think women in particular get a little bit like, oh, but who am I to think that I can make a difference? Or we're overly modest. I mean, it's a good thing that we're not overly arrogant, but there's a fine line between making ourselves small and not shining our light that we've been given to
Right.
shine. I mean, we owe it not just to ourselves, but to anybody else around us, because, you know, there will always be at least one person who is inspired by your story or your book or whatever it is your dream, right? And it's
Yes.
for them we do it. It's
Yeah.
for them
Yeah.
we do it. It's something bigger than us. And also what you were saying about action at some point just started, right? You didn't 100% know
I
where you were
actually
going.
started when I was the most vulnerable, it was January, beginning of the year 2001, 21, sorry, and I had COVID and I was by myself in a closed room and I thought I am gonna write about me.
Yeah,
And my son had inspired me to write out of my heart. And that's what I did. I
you
did
did.
write out of my heart because that's how I could connect with the reader. I can connect with those that will read my story. And then also for them, you know, it will be also a reminder that we all have a beautiful past. And it's nice sometimes to think about it because this is what makes us what we are today.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
move on. And of course, you don't have to live in the past, but it makes
yeah.
you. Yeah.
And to sound like a cliche, that's exactly how I would describe the book. It's an homage to the past, to everybody who's given you something. It's a present gift, right? It's something that
Yeah.
we can all enjoy now. And it's a legacy for the future to inspire other people to remember what matters most. And it is this connection. It is making time and effort for other people. So
Yeah.
thank you so, so much for this. Now, let's first finish off with the book. So the book's name is Compliments. I will make sure that there's a link to it in the show notes. Anywhere else you want to mention that people can get
Yeah,
hold of it?
well, the book will be launched the 13th of February in Amsterdam at the bookstore of Van Rossum in Amsterdam. So everyone is welcome to come if you feel an
Oh,
art
great.
to
That's right.
see.
I'm going, so join me there.
Yeah, and then I will have it available in my Instagram, in my website. I have a link for the web shop, and I have now pre-orders going more, yeah, like at a discounted price.
Okay, to
So
launch it.
yes,
Okay.
for those that want to buy
Yeah,
at
exactly.
the
Well, it makes sense, right? So I would say,
price,
check
that will
out the
be
show
great.
notes.
So yeah, I'm very excited and I'm very grateful for everyone and all that feel that they want to have my coffee table book compliments.
Thank you, Carolina. Thank you very much for sharing your story, your journey of making a dream a reality in order to inspire other people to take whatever's in their heart and in their heads and to actually do something with it. Just starting with small steps and seeing where it goes, but with trust and with this desire of creating a legacy and of contributing in whatever way to the lives of others as well. So thank you very much, and maybe see you at the book launch in Amsterdam on the 13th of February. It's the day before Valentine's Day, so very good idea to go there and get a copy of your book as a Valentine's gift to yourself or to somebody you love. Take care, everyone, and look forward to contacting again
Thank you so
soon.
much, Julie. Wonderful.